This week, as a photographer, I became aware of many drastic, sudden changes within Mission Trails Regional Park. Some of them came into my camera with ease. Some of them arrived with some level of challenge for me as a photographer to capture some images. All of the changes occurred whether I wanted them to or not. Photography has taught me three things about change. Subscribe, and let's get to it.
All right, ready, Ryan? Look up there. Get up here. It's so beautiful. I'm sure.
Clients would come into my office when I was being a psychotherapist, oftentimes describing some upset that was showing up because of unexpected life changes, changes that came in that unfolded too fast, too intensely, too unexpectedly, bring on a sense of overwhelm. My science training, my education, my experience welcomes exploring and studying change. Science is all about looking for change, finding the variances, whether it's within nature, within populations, surveys, it doesn't matter. Science is all about looking at change, determining if the observed change is statistically significant, seeing if this is within what's the norm, how it can be maybe used then to predict future comings, whether it's behaviors within animals, creatures, nature, weather, or some other aspect of what our monies are doing on the stock markets, etc. Science helps examine these sorts of changes and then make sense of them. A universal axiom is that all things change. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle seems to play out and exist in a photography's realm also. Even though Heisenberg's principle is applying to quanta and quantum physics, etc., the idea is there, the principle of itself, that to observe something might change it, or the thing being observed might change the observer. Sociologists and anthropologists encounter this type of a behavior or this type of interaction between the observed and the observer oftentimes. They're well aware of it, coming in to look at populations that are living. The mere fact that we might be examining things that have happened in the past, but we have to disturb it to examine it. Therefore, it's an interaction, it's a dynamic in a thing that creates change, studying change, but also creating our own change and being part of it while it's happening. Modern day cameras are offering features within the newer cameras that like silent shutters or extremely fast shutter speeds and frame rates, nearing maybe the capabilities of quality video cameras also. This all influences and affects the way me as a photographer, I might show up into the environment without interacting with it maybe the way I would have had to in the past if I was having a loud shutter on the camera. And my presence as a photographer, I've learned, is an interaction with the environment, with the nature that I'm photographing, that I'm capturing either through stills or video. These two mountains and the world between are constantly changing. Mountains have existed for over 100 million years, and all of human existence has come into being while these mountains simply sat. The mountains ever so slightly erode away with the wind and the rain and the weather. The life down here between the two mountains, the life that passes by, the human life, the non-human life, the plants and the animals that are behind me and the insects and the microbes, continue to play out in change constantly, constant change. Some of the change is observable within moments, some within days, some within weeks. Others might require seasons or years or even decades or eons in the case of a mountain weathering. There's a story that one of my mentors shares with me that how does a mountain change and how does it wear? And each time a hawk flies across, it brushes the top of the mountain with its wingtip. And it gradually, over the course of millions of years, will gradually wear down and erode. Though I visit the world between these two mountains frequently, photos and the videos that I collect are constrained by many factors. I've learned three main lessons coming here with my photography, with my camera, with my equipment, sometimes without it, is that the change happens whether I'm here or not. It happens whether I capture it on camera or not. And that's become important for me to be able to lean into that, yes, things change, not only out here in the park, throughout the world between these two mountains, but also within me, within my relationships, within the people that I encounter out here, within the world in general, that things change whether I'm looking or not. Simply because I take a photograph or a video of an object doesn't mean that it's going to stay the same. And in essence, I know deep down that it will change because all things change. But taking a still shot or a video, freezing that moment in time does not mean that it's the same the next minute, the next hour, the next day, or the next week, and certainly not years later. Photography is also teaching me that third, I am the nature. I'm not separate from it. I'm part of it. As I'm out here engaging, whether it's with an animal, a bird, a reptile, insects, plants, the weather, somehow there's a connectedness that I start to sense, that I start to deeply appreciate and be aware of. We're all changing. It's all changing together. And photography is my way of entering into it and viewing it. I can come out with my camera, with my equipment, yet the materials making up the camera came out of the earth, and they will go back into the earth at some point. Yet it allows me to be here and document and freeze an instance in nature. As I practice my photography, I'm becoming more and more mindfully aware while making my photographs. And that awareness gives me a deeper awareness of simply who I am and what my role is here in the world. Occasionally, every once in a while, it's not something that I can seek and find on purpose. I experience a flow state, an element of flow, of a oneness, so to speak. I'll share more about flow in the next video.